My mom decided to go behind my back and tell everyone that I'm a bad influence at my own birthday party. But I wasn't just going to take it. Oh no, I started plotting. We've always had a rocky relationship, to put it mildly. I mean, the woman thinks her role is to keep my life in check while putting my brother on this pedestal. Honestly, it feels ridiculous. He can do no wrong, and everything I do is trash compared to his achievements. It gets old quickly when you're constantly told you're the screw-up. Like, can you even be a family when you feel like a stranger in it? Fast forward to my birthday party. I wanted to keep everything low-key and just spend some quality time with the family. I spent weeks planning this big day, just to show that maybe I'm not a total disaster. The ideal scenario would have been to laugh, eat cake, and, dare I say, connect with everyone. But of course, my mom couldn't handle that. A week before, I overheard her talking to my aunt, saying something like, "Make sure you're careful with her." My aunt laughed it off, and all I could think was how the hell my mom always has to twist things about me. It's like I'm the designated villain in this never-ending family drama. She was treating it like an investigation. Anyway, I shrugged it off, thinking maybe she was just being her usual self. I would finally have my day. Things took a turn when guests started trickling in, and my mom was acting like the perfect hostess, rolling out the red carpet for my so-called golden brother. I walked into the living room, and she made a big comment about how she hoped everyone would be on their best behavior around me. Can you believe that? I was practically buzzing with frustration. Did she really just open the door for side eyes at me? Smirks, whispers? I was dying inside, knowing she had probably influenced everyone against me before I even stepped up to say hi. Not cool. Before I could take any action, it hit me. This isn't your average birthday party. It's a battlefield. I waited for the perfect moment to confront her, but every time I thought I had my chance to say something, she'd pull some slick maneuver to cover her tracks. Like, how do you launch a roast and then act all innocent? Seriously, it's a talent she has. So there I was, stuck between feeling like a fool and wanting to stage a rebellion. I mean, she was literally casting me as the troublemaker in front of everyone, and while I know she's done this before, each time it feels like a personal attack. I had to show her she can't get away with it this time. I was determined to bring the spotlight back on her where it belongs. And it wasn't going to happen quietly. The moment I finally confronted my cousin about what I overheard was the moment I realized there was no going back. Everyone was looking, and I knew I had to do something. After that, the night would either end with her crying tears of regret or me making a really bad decision. Kind of scary and thrilling, right? Well, this night was definitely going to be one to remember. After the mess at my birthday party, I couldn't shake the feeling that I needed to dig deeper into what was really going on with my mom and the family. You know, it's like everyone's acting normal while I'm stuck feeling like the odd one out. So I started experimenting with small tactics, like trying to catch my mother off guard. I decided to casually invite my brother over for a beer and just chat about life. He's usually pretty easygoing, and I thought maybe he'd slip up and say something. But what really got me was when he mentioned, almost offhandedly, that my mom had been calling his friends to talk about me, right? One minute I'm the issue and the next I'm the problem on speed dial. In any case, his casual tone made me suspicious, so I started to feel like I needed to ask more questions. I reached out to my cousin, who used to be one of the only people I felt like I could confide in. I swear, I thought she'd have my back. I mentioned what my brother said. Much to my surprise, she completely shut me down, defending my mom and saying, "Oh, she's just looking out for us." I was shocked. Like, seriously? I expected some solidarity, but it felt like a brick wall. Then I noticed something, a small framed photo leaning against her bookshelf. The picture was a little faded, but I caught a glimpse of a family gathering. My mother was in it, of course, looking all smiles, but right beside her stood a woman I didn't recognize. I got curious, asking my cousin about her, but she waved it off like it was no big deal. That moment just felt weird. Then I thought I'd dig a little deeper, so I called up one of my mom's oldest friends, hoping for a more straightforward answer. This friend was usually pretty candid, unlike my family. When I asked about the unknown woman in the photo, all of a sudden the tone shifted. She started stuttering, then quickly changed the subject. Very suspicious. I could hear the stress in her voice. Something's up, and that alone put me on high alert. I mean, what's not being said in our little family circle? Next, I decided to bring this newfound curiosity into our next family gathering. I thought maybe creating drama would reveal more about the dynamics at play. I casually slipped into the conversation, mentioning that odd photo I found. My mom's reaction was instant. She got this nervous look and suddenly shifted to talking about my brother's recent achievements, trying to regain control. The tension snapped, pitting family members against each other. Some were clearly on my side, while others echoed my mom's talking points, leaving me with this weird feeling of betrayal. As things escalated, I overheard my cousin telling my mother that I had been probing around. That's when something hit me. My mom wasn't just manipulating me, she was actively pulling strings with everyone around me, twisting their perceptions to keep this facade going. That's some high-level gaslighting right there, and I had to find a way to expose it. But then, just as I thought I was figuring things out, I stumbled into something absolutely shocking. Apparently that unknown woman in the photo, she's connected to a family incident we've never really talked about. One that could change everything I thought I knew about my mom and the entire family. I can't shake what that could mean for me. I'm sitting in that moment just thinking, what other secrets is she hiding? I need answers, and fast. After the bombshell about that mystery woman in the photo, I was all in. I felt this weird mix of excitement and dread, like I could finally uncover something monumental. So I started thinking about who else might know more about my mom's past. My first thought, my aunt. She's usually more open than most, and I figured maybe she has some juicy stories. I called her up one afternoon, pretending to be interested in her life, but subtly steering the conversation to family history. But the minute I brought up the woman in the photo, her face dropped. She clammed up. It turned into this awkward moment where I felt like I had poked a sleeping bear. We wrapped up our call, but the tension lingered. I lost my chance for inside info, but now I was more committed than ever to keep digging. Next, I decided to do some light investigating online during late-night scrolling. You know, casual snooping. I found this old local news article about a car accident involving my mom from years ago. In her profile photo, guess who was next to her? That same mystery woman. The article mentioned that it was a tragic incident that left my mom shaken. Like she lost someone important, but it didn't say who that person was. As I read the piece, everything started clicking into place. Suddenly, I wasn't just a curious daughter seeking answers. I was now a detective piecing together a puzzle that might shatter the entire family narrative. But seriously, what else had my mom been hiding? Feeling the stakes rise, I invited a few family members over for dinner, under the guise of wanting a fun night in. Once the evening rolled around, I casually brought up the mystery woman and my mom's past accident. The vibe shifted instantly. My mom could feel the tension, and you could see the panic in her eyes. She interrupted, started to downplay the whole thing, claiming it was just a sad period in her life and that we should move on. Classic deflection. But it struck me. Other family members looked uneasy, and some even looked like they didn't believe her. I sensibly pointed out that how can we move on when there are pieces of the puzzle still missing? Then it happened. My brother, my golden child, the one who always sided with her, suddenly accused me of stirring the pot. I mean, seriously, I couldn't believe he was defending the mystery. We went toe-to-toe in front of everyone. The tension hit a boiling point, and honestly, it scared me. But something in that moment felt empowering. I knew if I didn't push back, I'd just be another pawn in this game. But as I pressed harder, I realized I might have just lost him as an ally, and things were spiraling out of control really quick. Just like that, my family felt more divided than ever, and honestly, it was a chaotic mess. That's when someone unexpectedly leaked that maybe, just maybe, that unknown woman had reemerged in our lives. But who and why? I was burning with curiosity and fear as I sat there, knowing that the walls were closing in. The lights went dim, and everything felt even more shadowy than before. I knew it was time to finally put my plan into action. I couldn't just sit back anymore. I needed the truth out, and I was fed up pretending everything was normal. So I decided to confront my mom during our next family dinner, and I wasn't going to hold back. I gathered evidence, the photos, the articles, document after document showing this other woman's connection to my mom's past, all written out, clear and concise for anyone to see, like a presentation. It took me days to organize it, but I wanted it to be undeniable. The atmosphere was tense as dinner unfolded, with everyone trying to act normal, while my heart raced. Finally, I brought up my findings, pointing out how much had been swept under the rug. I wasn't going to do it quietly either. I laid it all out there. Her past, the accident, and about the mystery woman. You could feel the tension shift in the room. Faces went pale, and suddenly it wasn't just my mom who looked nervous. My brother and cousins ate their food in silence, glancing at each other as if they were all part of this conspiracy. My mom, however, went into full attack mode, attempting to play the victim. She accused me of trying to destroy the family and asserted that I didn't know what I was talking about. But my voice got louder, fueled by all the years of hurt. I shouted, claiming I deserved answers, truth over her lies. Everyone froze. That's when everything unraveled. My aunt, who'd clammed up before, just blurted out that the woman had been my mom's sister, someone the family had lost in that tragic car accident. Nobody ever mentioned her to us, and that's why the photo in my cousin's house felt so off. Apparently, my mother had always wanted to protect her image, because having lost her sister left her vulnerable and guilt-ridden. It was all about maintaining control and the illusion of a perfect family. My heart dropped when my mom finally snapped. She yelled that I wouldn't survive if I kept digging, and just like that, the facade broke. I mean, she went off about how she was the one holding the family together, but all I saw was her desperation. It was chaotic. Other relatives started questioning her about everything. I felt like I'd pulled a thread that unraveled the whole tapestry. Suddenly, everyone wanted answers, but nothing could prepare me for how quickly the emotions boiled over. Flipping the narrative wasn't what I expected. I thought it would be a moment of victory, but honestly, it felt more like a funeral. Everyone was losing their minds over this shocking revelation, and all I could do was sit there, feeling like I'd thrown a grenade into the family. I knew I couldn't turn back now. The truth was out there, and it was messy, terrifying, and complicated. But nothing could replace the damage done, and as I looked around the table of shocked faces, I realized we may have opened Pandora's box, and there's no putting the lid back on. It's been a few weeks since the dinner where everything blew up, and let me tell you, the fallout has been unreal. My family, once a unit, now feels like a battlefield. I received texts from my brother saying he can't talk to me, At least not right now. He's been calling every family gathering into question, saying I shattered his image of our family. I always knew he'd be loyal to the end. But the fact that he's focusing on his hiking trips and ignoring the real issues feels even more like a betrayal. Meanwhile, a couple of my cousins reached out, sharing their own frustrations about our upbringing and their experiences with my mom, but none of us knew how to connect those dots. My so-called safe spaces evaporated, and of course, my mom started making passive-aggressive posts on social media about toxic behavior, and everyone knew it was aimed at me. It's like a game of chess where every move is being watched and calculated. Then there's my aunt, who seemed to take my side during the confrontation. She blogs about family issues and shared a post condemning my mom's need for control and manipulation, but she later told me in private that I should just let it go for peace's sake. Peace? At what cost? I was tired of pretending to sweep things under the rug, but I also didn't want to lose my only ally in this mess. So I've been doing a lot of thinking about the cost of all this. I finally stood up for myself, but at what expense? I always wanted answers from my mom, but now that I have a glimpse, I'm left with more questions. Did I ruin my family? Was it worth it? As I sit here, pouring my thoughts into this post, I can't shake the pit in my stomach. It's frustrating to have the truth, yet feel so far from closure. There's this lingering mystery about my mother's relationship with her lost sister that keeps gnawing at me. What other secrets is she hiding? What about her need to manipulate and maintain control? I never wanted to live in a fractured family, but now, after uncovering these layers of deception, I realize this might be the beginning of a long journey through fallout, and I might not have all the strength to face it. The echoes of that night continue replaying in my mind, and even as I type this out, I wonder if confronting my mother was truly the right call. Maybe I uncovered one piece of her past, but I couldn't help but dread what else might be waiting just around the corner. The mysteries haven't disappeared, they've just shifted, and that's a heavy load to carry.